Welcome to the podcast. I'm John.
I'm Lizzie.
And this is Harry Potter and the First Time Readers. It's all right. I did it at the perfect time. I always do this at the perfect time. Whenever your mouth is full, then I say. All right. Chapter 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. We're going to knock these ones out.
Dang.
Can you give me a summary of chapter 11?
Amos Diggory contacts Mr. Weasley in the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear about Mad Eye.
Yeah.
And the Triwizard Tournament, which is just a rumor at this point.
Yeah, just a rumor at this point.
Yeah. You want to see my drawing of Winky?
You had a drawing of Winky?
I do.
Yes.
It's very bad.
Please let me see.
Come and get it.
No.
I'm not getting up.
Come on.
This was my original paper notes of the people. She's on the front side. That's how they described her.
Literally exactly how they describe it, like bat ears. I like the little hands.
Yeah. You can have it, frame it, sell it.
I know.
Patreon.
Yeah, exactly. $1,000 gets you an original Lizzie drawing.
Oh yeah. I'll do commission. I'll draw whoever you want.
Oh my gosh, we should do that.
That's about as good as my drawing gets. Like, that's the top.
We literally should do that where we commission you out and you just take 10 minutes to draw a character, and then if it's good, you just get what you get. And people are framing these all over in our community.
Or we should mail them out as letters, and then we'll be like, "Oh, we're writing letters."
Yes, we should. Yeah, I gotta start writing letters again. I've kind of gotten off that a bit, but this is so great. I'm not gonna show anybody. This is just for me. Good. Okay, Crouch MOM Ministry of Magic.
Yeah, what did I even write in there? That was my annotating. I started paying attention to the colors I was using.
Oh, I love
so
that.
red is like something I love.
The writing. Orange, revisit the theory.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I have this drawing. I will treasure that forever. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, yeah. So in chapter 11, they learn about Mad Eye. What do you think of Mad Eye? I mean, you know Mad Eye more, but because you've read a little bit further in the book. But
yeah.
What are your impressions of Mad Eye?
I kind of flip-flop with him back and forth, but
okay.
Here I was like, I knew he was gonna be a main character because I remember him being in the rest of the story, but he seems interesting. He feels like he fell off his rocker.
Yeah, 100%.
Like he was once an incredible or best of the best, amazing, and now he's just like everybody's a dark wizard.
Yeah,
shooting stuff at people.
Yeah, for sure.
But I don't know. I can't say I would be that much different. I was like, I'd probably do that too. Like you toss your trash in the garbage can and run.
Like, yeah, 100%. Like sprinting up the stairs whenever you turn a light out. I'm out.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Exactly. But I understand why you can't just use magic at that and just start wrecking things. But yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
He has a lot of lore that I want to uncover.
Yeah, he'd be a great person to do like a side spin-off series and just like learn what he went through and learn all the people that he caught and all he's an interesting guy.
You could totally do like the Mad Eye movie.
Yeah, the Mad Eye Moody Chronicles.
Yeah.
The Moody Chronicles. There's like a funny line in this one. Mrs. Weasley says, "Your father thinks very highly of Mad Eye Moody." Yeah, well, Dad collects plugs, doesn't he? Said Fred quietly as Mrs. Weasley left the room. Birds of a feather.
Yeah, I love that part.
Who's your favorite Weasley so far?
I like the twins.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, they're one and the same.
Yeah, they really are. They're great.
They're funny.
Did you have any other notes in chapter 11 before we move on? There's not like a crazy amount that happens in chapter 11, but
well, with Amos coming back in the fire, the Ministry has a little like second ring of the Ministry happening inside of it.
Ooh.
Which is like I don't know if that's going to be good or bad, but if they're just working this out between themselves and trying to get it done really fast and under the table, I feel like how much more does that happen to? How many more situations are just getting done under the table with the ministry?
So many.
So I don't trust the ministry that much anymore. After that, I was like, they're really just sorting this out with the in the fire. Like his head's in the fire.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the Ministry of Magic type business.
Just in a fireplace, just chilling with your head in the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all sorts of shady stuff going on right now. Everyone's getting deals done however they need to get them done. Under the table. There's all sorts of shady stuff going on at the ministry. Because
I want to say Mr. Weasley is the good guy doing things under the table. And even Mr. Diggory, it's like, I like him a little bit more now because he's working with Mr. Weasley in the first chapter that he was like not super nice. And so I don't know. Like I want to support that, but at the same time, like there's probably really bad people doing this too.
Yep.
Stuff is,
and they're probably doing it more, and they're doing it a lot worse. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a great point. We don't trust the ministry. Never trust the ministry.
Never. I'll keep that in mind.
Chapter 12 is the Triwizard Tournament. Can you give me a quick summary of the Triwizard Tournament?
The new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher arrives. The Triwizard Tournament is announced, and Hermione's House Elf Crusade begins.
Yes.
And this is my favorite chapter ending.
Okay.
Which I know I don't know if you're gonna edit it out or not, but we said it before. I'm in like a whole nother part of the book. But this is my favorite ending apart from the painting going that serious black. Okay. Or Peeves said that. Yeah. But yeah, Harry grinned into his pillow, exceptionally glad that Ron couldn't see what he could. And he's thinking about Cho. And I was like, that's so cute.
I know. I love that. How many of us have been there before?
Yeah. It's a good feeling, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, the Triwizard Tournament is so interesting. And Mrs. Weasley I think the chapter before this one, she was like, I'm so glad they changed the rules. And you're like, what did they change? But I guess it's the age rules, and then the twins are now exempt.
Yep.
But I was suspicious of this whole age line. It doesn't seem that like secure. And apparently it's not that secure. I don't know.
Well, that's the real question of that. How secure is it? Who put Harry's name in? They put it under, how did they put it in? Like, why are there 4 champions rather than 3?
I'm just thinking I could stand on the staircase
and just
crumple it up and chuck it in. Like immediately I had that thought.
Well, it's how wide is the age line? Is it like 20 yards? Is it like 5 yards? Or like,
it's close. It's like on the floor. They're all looking at it, right?
Well, maybe it's the age of that's a great question. That's a great point. There's probably got to be like, if I was there, just wadding up balls of paper and just throwing it in. That's absolutely what I do.
Yeah, and I think you could do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think somebody definitely put in his name. I don't think it just popped up out of the Matrix. Like somebody's out to get him. But I don't know who.
You don't know who?
I don't know who. I think it's, well, we'll hold that thought.
Okay.
I don't know who it is yet.
All right.
But
we'll see.
It's interesting. I don't know. There's a lot happening.
Would you want to put your name into the Goblet of Fire?
Yeah, I would.
Really?
Yeah.
Eternal glory is appealing to you?
Yeah. I think just the challenge, it seems fun. Yeah. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Competitive.
Do you know what any of the tasks are yet?
So I remember there being something happening in the lake.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember something like that, and they're drowning and they like get back on the shore. I don't know.
Okay.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
And I remembered a second one, but now I can't remember the second one. So
you are very close to the first task in chapter 18. I think the first task is chapter 19 or 20.
Yeah.
So you are right there.
Is it in the chapter titles?
I don't think so. No, the task is literally just called the first task. I don't know if it's in the artwork on the chapter. That's a good question.
I don't know. The weighing of the wands.
Ooh, that's a good chapter.
Yeah.
Lots to talk about on
I
that
haven't really read that yet. That's tonight.
Yes.
This was such a funny line to me. Professor McGonagall, deputy headmistress and head of Gryffindor House, had come dashing out of the Great Hall, skidded on the wet floor, and grabbed Hermione around the neck to stop herself from falling. Ouch! Sorry, Miss Granger. That's all right, Professor. Like, Hermione's so funny. Like, she loves McGonagall.
Yeah. She's one of those students that the teacher could do anything to her, and she's like,
yeah.
"Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that." You know,
She's
Hermione
like, "Oh, she touched me."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cute. That was a good reading.
This is also, you get the song from the Sorting Hat in this chapter, which was very interesting.
Finally, you actually get them at a sorting ceremony.
Yeah.
Because you never see that before where they're at a sorting ceremony.
I was waiting for that. I wanted to see the sorting. And they were just like, let's eat. I'm starving. I'm like, how do you just
I know.
slip past that? Like, that's so cool.
I know. There's a funny little thing that we dissected in the first season of the podcast where we talked about what time it actually was when they were eating their dinner. And we surmise, so if the train is leaving on September 1st, it probably is hitting like sunset around like 5 or no, like around 7 or around 8ish. So a lot of people say, this is what we were saying, it's sunrise. So let's say they at the latest they get to the train station at 7, which is like really generous. It probably takes them all an hour to get to the school with the things, and it probably takes them like an hour to like, get settled, get into the hall.
Mm-hmm.
All the first years to get up there, they can't eat until the sorting ceremony is done, and then the sorting ceremony happens, and they all have to wait probably another hour for the sorting ceremony to like finish, for all the students to get sorted. Maybe not that long, but probably around then. So I'm like, they're probably eating dinner around like 9 or 10, and then they're like all. The sorting hat has to sing all of his songs. They get all these like little introductions before, and then all of a sudden they like go off to bed. So they're eating super late, and then they're like they're eating like dessert at like 11 o'clock, and then they have class the next day. I always thought that was a little bizarre.
Well, the sky in the Great Hall is nighttime.
Yeah.
So
Yep. I know.
That is wild, though. Doesn't the train leave at like 11 in the first book?
I think so. Yeah. The train leaves at 11.
And it's like how long is that? 8 hours?
It's got to be a while. Which is a little bizarre. Like maybe it shouldn't take 8 hours for the train to go that. But maybe it is.
Yeah, like why can't they just magically speed that up?
Yeah, I know. For real. I know.
That's my recurring thought is like, if I was a wizard, I would be using magic for absolutely everything, I feel like.
Yeah. There's definitely, they don't use it for everything, which is a bit annoying because they could use it for everything. But it's like there's like a quaintness, like a train leading them in. Like let's go the old fashioned way rather than just everyone apparate to the school. It also shows that the school is protected by certain things. You can't just apparate onto the school. Do
you like Colin's brother?
Yeah.
Dennis.
It's one of my favorites.
Really?
I love him.
Why?
Because he was so pumped that he fell into the lake and that the squid brought him, or he like felt the squid's didn't the squid put him back on the boat or something like that? Or he like felt the giant squid touch his ankle or something.
Yeah. He's funny. I don't mind him, but he's just really funny to me.
He's a lot. He would be me in my first year at Hogwarts, just enamored with everything going on. I'd be looking everywhere, like so pumped that like the giant squid like touched me when I was in that sounds bad. Like put me back in the boat when I was in when I fell into the lake. Like even him falling into the lake and just how much he loved that and soaked that up. It's just so cute. And I know for a fact that I wouldn't have been like that when I was younger. But I wish I was.
Yeah.
Because he's so blown away by this world. And like when I would fall into a lake when I was like a kid, I would like be mad and upset. But this kid falls into a lake and he's like, that was the best, like best day ever. And I feel like every day that Dennis Creevy wakes up, it's his best day.
Yeah.
I love him.
And he gets to wear Hagrid's coat.
Yeah.
I would be so pumped to wear Hagrid's coat.
Such an honor.
Yes. And I think it's cool that they're brothers and they can be together and be in the same house.
I know.
I don't know.
I love it so much.
Yeah. They're cute.
Yeah, Dennis is one of my faves. I love Dennis. He's not in the books a ton, to be honest, but he is definitely one of my faves because of his lust for life. He's just, that dude loves life, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be more like Dennis Creevy.
Go jump in some lakes.
Yeah, for real. Because I don't want to keep going on a rant about this, but there's like a certain aspect of my life where I really want to, I don't want to go around being annoyed at everything that happens. Everyone does that. Like, it's so rare that you see people who even if like the crappy things that happen, they're like, oh, like, this is so cool, this is great. And like, there are people do that to an annoying degree, when they're like dealing with something really serious and they're just always happy. I'm like, that seems a little superficial sometimes. But I remember this one time, I used to hate tubing, like water tubing. I hated it with everything in me because I would go with these people up at the lake that, and I would go with these people, and the boat driver's job, he like made it his point to try to knock us off the tubes. And so we were like washing over each other, going crazy. And I was getting whiplash, and my neck was going every time I fell off the boat. It like hurt going into the water. I remember it was miserable, and we would go up there all the time and go tubing, and I hated it every second. I couldn't wait till we were back on shore. And then one time I was like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this. I'm going to like suck this up and like make fun and like truly enjoy this. And I remember going out there and like doing exactly that and just jumping out of other people's tubes. Like, we would have like competitions with each other, doing all sorts of like tricks and stuff like that. And it became fun. And I loved it. And I was like, it really is just, it's cliche, but it's like how you view things and your perspective. And I think Dennis Creevy is just a great example of someone who, crap things happen to them, but he has great attitude and great perspective, and it changes the way he views the world, and I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
All right, chapter 13 is Mad Eye Moody, unless you had anything else in chapter 12.
No, I mean, just Dumbledore's guarding of this goblet that he's ensuring nobody's gonna get past.
Yeah.
I almost feel like he knew that Harry was gonna get pulled out of the hat. And I feel like either he was lax on the protection on purpose, but like, he seems genuinely surprised when Harry's name is pulled out.
Yep.
But
that's what I was going to pull up.
I also feel like he's all-knowing, and he probably let some loophole in there on purpose that in like hopes it might happen or something. I don't know. Not that he wants Harry to die, I don't think.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Great questions. Dumbledore being an omniscient guy it throws you for a loop here, because when Harry's name comes out and he's genuinely surprised, you're like, what the heck is going on? Why is he really surprised here? He should know what's happening.
Yeah. And that hasn't happened yet. But it's just talked about like, nobody's gonna hoodwink me, and like, I have all these protections.
And someone hoodwinks him.
Yeah.
We'll get there soon.
Yep.
Chapter 13 is Mad Eye Moody. Give me a quick summary of this one.
I think it's just about Mad Eye. My summaries are done. There's no more summaries in the doc. But we're introduced to Mad Eye, which kind of the Weasleys and Harry and Hermione already knew a little bit. And he turns Malfoy into a weasel?
A little, yeah.
Is it a weasel?
I think it's ferret.
Ferret.
It might be a weasel, actually. What's the difference between a weasel and a ferret? I don't know.
Don't know.
Great chapter, though.
But yeah, it's literally just about Mad Eye, and I love Mad Eye.
Yeah.
He has a really good description where she's describing him and saying things like the mouth is sideways and like the eye, and I just think that's such a good little like snippet of writing.
I think that was some of her best writing. You kind of nailed it. It says the mouth looked like a diagonal gash, and a large chunk of the nose was missing.
Yeah.
But it was the man's eye that made him frightening.
Yeah, something about just using the instead of his.
Oh, it's so good.
Seems slightly less human, and she's saying he's carved out of wood, like she's making him very statuesque.
That is a brilliant note on her writing. That's great. Never saw that before.
I mean, you have, but
yeah, read it, but there is a little bit of Trelawney that happens in this chapter as well. And I want to talk about that for a quick second. She says, "You are preoccupied, my dear. My inner eye sees past your brave face to the troubled soul within. I regret to say that your worries are not baseless. I see difficult times ahead of you, alas, most difficult. For I fear the thing that you dread will indeed come to pass, and perhaps sooner than you think."
Is that meaningful to you?
We'll see. And then she says this too, which is really interesting. "I was saying, my dear, that you were clearly born under the baleful influence of Saturn," said Professor Trelawney, a faint note of resentment in her voice at the fact that he had not obviously been hanging on her words. "Born under what? Sorry," said Harry. "Saturn, dear, the planet Saturn," said Professor Trelawney, sounding definitely irritated that he wasn't riveted by the news. "I was saying that Saturn was surely in a position of power in the heavens at the moment of your birth. Your dark hair, your mean stature, tragic loss, so young in life. I think I am right in saying, my dear, that you were born in midwinter." "No," said Harry, "I was born in July."
It's so good.
I know. It's so funny. And then he has one of my favorite lines when they're looking over their planet charts. And then someone goes, "Oh, Professor, look. I think I've got an unaspected planet." "Ooh, which one's that, Professor?" "It's Uranus, my dear," said Professor Trelawney, peering down at the chart. "Can I have a look at Uranus too, Lavender?" said Ron.
So funny.
It is so excellent.
I was dying when I read that. It was so good.
It is such a funny line. Oh
they just joke around so much in her class the
I know.
entire time. They're just laughing.
I know. And it's so good. Everyone had a teacher like that when you just kind of joked around,
Yeah.
like messed around. It's great.
And they just make up their homework and she doesn't
Yep.
care. Or she doesn't know because she's not real.
She's right in everything that she says.
Okay.
Except for maybe this one. She says he was born in midwinter, and she seems to be wrong about that.
Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he's adopted.
Ooh, we're getting into interesting theories. You're pulling up some Danny theories right now. Danny went on a long tangent on this in season 1 later on, but he goes on a long tangent about the birth of Harry and how he might think it's a fraud that Harry was born in July rather than in midwinter.
Why? Because he's so convinced of this?
No, he's not convinced of this really at all. He's he like plays it along with it a little. He's kind of convinced of it, but he's convinced of something else that happens later in the books, which he realized that he was wrong about, but he was convinced of it for a half second and went on this long tangent of theories. And for like 2 podcasts was like, this has to be it. And he was wrong. But it was a great series of predictions. Really, it was so good. It was so entertaining for me.
That's why I don't want to say that I'm doubting everything, because at some point I'm going to get destroyed.
No, but you might, You won't. This is fun too. Like, even if you're just coming up with these theories that you don't know, just come up with them because it's fun. Because you might nail something, and that's gonna feel good when you nail that. And like later on, it's revealed you nailed this prediction. It was great.
The best feeling ever.
Yeah, it's great.
I feel like. Do you think it was right of Mad Eye to turn Malfoy into a weasel?
That's a great question.
What is
Yeah. A weasel or a ferret, whatever.
I want to say weasel, but I think that's because the Weasleys are here.
Did Malfoy turn into a ferret?
A ferret. Because I really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was. I don't like that he was actually hurting him.
Yeah.
because when he became normal again, he
Yeah.
was in pain. But in terms of humiliation, I think it was great.
I love that as well for the same reason that it wasn't physical harm, it was emotional harm. Like he embarrassed him a little bit. He kind of needed to be put in his place. He needed to be embarrassed a little bit.
But the Malfoys and Mad Eye seem to have like some history or something together. I think Mad Eye has history with everybody in the Ministry because he was in the Ministry.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some like more is gonna happen with that. So
Moody is a really interesting guy so far, and I want to talk about a ton in the next chapter because the next chapter is the Unforgivable Curses, where we pretty much have a full lesson with him. His morality is really a fascinating one to talk about. So let's get to this next one. Unless you have anything else in chapter 13.
No.
All right. Chapter 14 is the Unforgivable Curses. And all that happens in this is he just teaches them the unforgivable curses. It's a good chapter. But do you think that, so on top of Moody, you think that he was right to transform into a ferret? Do you think that he's right to teach them the unforgivable curses?
Is this like one of those things that you would just learn anyway through your friends? When you're like, what curse words do you know? You know, like, is that like this? Or would they truly never have been exposed to it?
No, they would definitely be exposed to it at some point. It might be like the curse word thing. Maybe a little bit more serious than that. But probably somewhat equated to that, yeah. Knowing curse words.
Because if they can't actually perform them until they're really trained, I guess, I don't think it matters too much because it's powerless.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can say the words and you're not going to kill them. And even if they learn it in class, he still hasn't taught them enough to be able to use it. So it seems like there's multiple layers, or like you need multiple lessons to understand how to do it.
Yeah.
So it seems pretty safe to just know that the words are there.
Yeah, the knowledge of it, I guess, is pretty good. Although some of it is just really, really dark. Like the Imperious Curse is just really, really dark, I think. Like all of them. I mean, killing someone using the Imperious Curse, which is like controlling them, or Crucio using your magic to torture someone. That's pretty evil as well. But what are your maybe this is a weird question because maybe this is an obvious answer to you. But what's the worst out of these three?
The killing, I guess. Okay. I don't know.
Interesting.
It depends because death is a kindness at times.
Yeah.
So, if you just keep someone in extended torture, I would say that's far worse than killing them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I don't know. They're pretty equal. Maybe not Imperious, because Imperious is just control. So that's more like you can humiliate and whatever. But Crucio, that's torture, that's pain. And then death.
Yeah, they're definitely I kind of think they're all equal. I wouldn't want any of them. I think there's something really dark about the Imperious Curse. It's not quite the same. Like Crucio, you know the intentions of the wizard behind it. You know that they're trying to harm someone through it. The same thing with Avada Kedavra. You're trying to kill someone. There's no mistake in like how you could perform that. With the Imperious Curse, the ability to control a person, someone could use that for good. But very rarely would a good wizard probably use the Imperious Curse. They probably wouldn't use it that often. So more often than not, it's used for pretty evil things. But there is a propensity for doing good with the Imperious Curse. I wouldn't call it doing good. I would just say there is a propensity for decent wizards to use it and to not use it for complete evil gain.
I agree.
But it's dark.
Yeah. And the fact that it's illegal, you're almost never going to have it be used for good. Because, bless you.
Thanks.
When something's illegal, it's like only being done by criminals.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. I don't know. I kind of forgot how bad the Imperious Curse could be with the control and just it going under the radar too.
Yeah.
That's scary.
There's one more thing, and we're not going to touch on this until like literally book 6, but I want to mention it just one really quick because I think this is actually the most dark thing that's in the Wizarding world. It's like one of my hot takes. I love this so much. This is one of my hot takes of Harry Potter. There's something that we learn later, which is a love potion, and this love potion is called Amortentia. And it's the strongest love potion that exists in the world. But it causes obsessive love and it causes infatuation. And this potion smells differently to every single person who has it. It smells like whatever they really love and desire. So for like Hermione, it smells like fresh parchment, like what she loves, like an open book, like a library or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that is actually the darkest thing in the entire Harry Potter series. Forcing another person to love you. I think it's essentially rape. I think it's a date rape drug, which is pretty terrifying.
Yeah.
So it's weird because in the Harry Potter universe, this thing, most people would equate the 3 unforgivable curses as the worst things. And the Amortentia potions, a lot of people see as like this secondary thing that's like, oh, it's like, it's almost cute. It's like got the idea of love, like you're giving someone a love potion. I think it's so dark, and I think it needs to be part of the unforgivable trio. I think it needs to be the quad, the unforgivable things that you do to another person. Because the idea of making another person love you seems like reprehensible to me. It seems so gross. It's like rape.
Well, if love is one of the strongest forces, and you twist that and turn it into the opposite and force it, it is super dark.
Yeah. I can't wait till we get to that discussion. It's going to be a great discussion.
Me too. It sounds intriguing.
Yeah. So Moody says that, and he says this specifically to Harry, but he doesn't necessarily apologize, but he says that they have to know these things. At this point in their wizarding life, do you think they really have to know these things? Or do you think this is just like, I'm teaching you these things now, so your friends don't teach them to you later and mess things up?
I think Dumbledore is like preparing them for war or something.
Okay.
It seems like, I don't know if that's just Moody's general attitude with the whole constant vigilance. Yeah. But it seems like he has Lupin. Okay, they're actually learning, they're doing good. Now he has Mad Eye, who's this kind of crazy guy, but he's like very experienced and knows very dark stuff.
Yeah.
So, and he's actually teaching it to them. So I think Dumbledore is kind of playing some game under the radar that he wants them to be prepared for this. And I'm guessing it has to do with the uprising of Voldemort, where like he wants his school to be prepared. But
it's like Scar. Be prepared. It's my best singing voice.
Nice. Great.
Yeah.
But no, this line though, according to the Ministry of Magic, I'm not supposed to teach you counter curses. I'm supposed to teach you counter curses and leave it at that. I'm not supposed to show you that what illegal dark curses look like until you're in the 6th year. You're not supposed to be old enough to deal with it, but Dumbledore's got a higher opinion of your nerves. So he reckons you can cope. The sooner you know, the sooner you know what you're up against, the better. How are you supposed to defend yourself against something you've never seen? So, like, how are you supposed to defend yourself against something? It sounds so pertinent, like it's right outside the door, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like anything's right outside the door.
Yeah. Yep.
But maybe it is. Maybe it's in the dungeon.
This book has lulled you into sleep.
So they are going against the Ministry. Dumbledore's going against the Ministry.
Yeah.
Crazy. But maybe not.
Well, I think it's like the Ministry prescribed path of education. Like you learn certain things in different years. Like in 3rd year, they learned about animals and like how to defend against animals. In 4th year was only supposed to be counter curses, and they were supposed to learn like the darker stuff in the 6th year. So for some reason, we don't really know yet. Dumbledore seems to have blown that up and been like, everyone needs to learn about Avada Kedavra and how to like deal with that right now. And you don't know why yet, which is great.
Because somebody's gonna die. I keep thinking that maybe when Winky did the sign that somebody actually did die and we just didn't find the body yet.
Ooh, whoa.
Or it was maybe a misplaced mark. Like it was like they didn't really search that far.
Yeah, they didn't.
Just Mr. Diggory went into the woods, found Winky, and was like, "We got him."
Yeah.
But I mean, that place is huge. There could be.
Who do you think would die? Like at the end of this book, if someone were to die, who do you think would be? Or if someone were to have found dead.
I think Pettigrew might die, but I don't think he's gonna be found dead by like good people. I think it's gonna be inconsequential.
Ooh.
But maybe someone from the ministry, like someone we've met. I don't know who that would be.
Yeah, all right.
But it would have to be a good person, I think. And not a muggle, like a good wizard.
They really got to tug at your heartstrings.
Because why is the dark mark there if no one died?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. It could have just been like just to instill fear in people, but Death Eaters never really did that just to instill fear in people. They did it after they killed, so
exactly.
Be a false mark. We'll see. It's great.
Yeah. I'm surprised how scared they got just watching the spiders too. Like they really got it. I don't know if it would have hit me that deep.
Yeah. I actually think the movies portrayed this scene really well. And they used like these little insect creatures. They weren't really exactly spiders. I think they were camel spiders or something like that. Something like that. But I think the movie portrayed the scene pretty well. So when we get there, when we watch these, it'll be hopefully good. We'll see. So there's another weird note in this chapter that it mentions Neville a few times. During the lesson, it mentions Neville that he's not able to sleep. Do you think that these things just disturbed him so much? Or do you think there's something else going on with Neville?
Well, he has a weird interaction with Moody in the hallway.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, right?
And then he bribes him kind of with this botany book and you did so good in Sprout's class. He makes him feel better. I don't know. I'm reading with the mindset of what you said about Neville being depressed.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to understand it through that light. But it doesn't seem like the perfect fit.
Yeah.
Just to explain this.
Yeah,
so I don't know. I think he's maybe just a little like a weaker kind of kid. Like that's a bad way to put it. Because maybe he's just more innocent and actually childlike and wholesome. Because for these to deeply disturb you, I think that's the correct response. Like if okay, I now know how to kill someone. I don't ever want to know how to do that. Like I don't want that in me. And for him to know that and just like watch the spiders die. Other thing I thought maybe he watched like his parents die. Ooh. Or these were done to his parents.
Oh man.
Because his parents are dead, right?
You don't know that at this point.
But they are dead. Just tell me. Please tell me. They're dead.
I can't tell you.
Stop, please.
I can't tell you.
Please. I'm going to Google it right now if you don't.
Oh, if you're going to Google it, you want me to give you the backstory?
No, just tell me yes or no.
His parents are not dead.
Are they Death Eaters?
I don't know.
Yeah, you do. What are you? Okay.
Do you want to know any more about them? I don't want to really mess around because we'll have a long discussion about this one. Because Neville's one of my favorites. It's an interesting theory that his parents could be Death Eaters. I'm just gonna say that's interesting.
The whole theory that his parents could be dead, that kind of is gone out the window now. But that's why I thought he was so scared, is like maybe he saw this happen to somebody and it's actually like PTSD and it's like bringing it back up. But apparently not. But okay, I'm happy to know that though. When do we hear about his parents?
Book 5.
Okay.
So you'll get there pretty soon.
Soon.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'll read this tonight.
And when we revisit this, it's gonna be fun to revisit this conversation after we talk about that. You're gonna be very excited about something, and you're gonna be very bummed about something that you said.
Oh, interesting.
So we'll see. We'll get there.
The way Moody talks, I really like too.
Yeah.
Like the same way that I like the way Sirius talks. Yeah. There's this quote from Mad Eye going, "Not nice," he said calmly. "Not pleasant. And there's no counter curse. There's no blocking it. Only one known person has ever survived it, and he's sitting right in front of me." And I read that and I was like, ah!
It's so good. Yeah, I know.
That was crazy.
You're like, let's go.
Yeah. And then Harry's just like, that's how his parents died, exactly like the spider. Had they been unblemished and unmarked too, had they simply seen a flash of green light and heard the rush of their speeding death before life was wiped from their bodies? But he knows that's not true because he heard them fighting.
Yeah.
But
so good. It's great writing.
There's a little sentence about the Dementors, though, again. Harry knew these details because he had heard his parents' voices when he had fought the Dementors last year. For that was the terrible power of the Dementors, to force their victim to relive their worst memories of their lives and drown powerless in their own despair.
Ooh.
Which is a really different way of phrasing that, right? Because I remember saying it to you that Lupin said, "Harry, there's horrors in your life that no one else has had." And I remember being like, I don't know what Lupin means. That's weird. Like, they take the happiness. But it's almost like if your happiness is so small and like you pull the plug, there's nothing to drain. Like it just goes so fast that then all the darkness just like rises up so much more fast, just quickly. But
that's a great point.
So that's why the horrors make it worse for Harry, because there's no like happiness on top of that to drain out. It's just like one little memory and then it's just straight down the chute of despair.
Dang.
So that, I love that sentence because that like solidified a lot of my last like confusion about Dementors.
That's so good. That's so fascinating that it makes Harry think immediately of dark and depressing things. It's like they're skimming off the top layer of happiness.
Mm-hmm.
That's tragic.
Forced to relive their worst memories.
Dang.
Yeah. And that's why it's his parents, because that's the worst one.
Oh, man.
Which is crazy because maybe if he got to a point where like they didn't kiss him, but they just kept sucking the happiness out of him, I wonder if there would be like moments with the Dursleys showing up and like what would cycle through that.
Yeah.
But
that's actually a fascinating question. What if they never got kissed? What if they just kept sucking the happy memories out of you? Would you just still become a shell of yourself eventually? Is like the kiss just a faster way to get there? Or is the kiss the culmination of it? Like as soon as they've sucked all these happy memories, then they finally administer their kiss, which is like the nail in the coffin. Great questions. Dang. This is like the Dementor season.
I love my Dementors.
Anything else in chapter 14 before we hit the last one, 15?
No, I'm still confused about Neville.
We will go on long, deep dives of Neville soon, though, I promise.
Wait, we just did 14?
Yeah.
Oh, why is Sirius flying north? Like, I didn't necessarily think that meant that he was coming back to Hogwarts, but...
Hogwarts is in north, yeah. Hogwarts is in Scotland. Some people think that it's on Loch Ness, and that the giant squid is the Loch Ness monster. That's Muggle theory.
That.
Danny actually did a deep dive on trying to find where it was. And he's narrowed it down to 2 lakes, and one of them was Loch Ness. I forgot what the other one was. But it is in Scotland, so he's coming up north. So he was in the south. He had that tropical
was
bird
like in
that he
an
sent.
island, right?
Yeah. So he's swinging back up north.
And Sirius is still in the loop with all like his people, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, kind of.
It feels like he's getting a lot of information from people. I don't know who knows though, because maybe Dumbledore started to tell people. Maybe Mad Eye, maybe Diggory. I don't know. I do not know. And I think Mad Eye's is his blue eye the one that's like seeing the stars or something? Like, what is that?
What do you mean?
Because he can read the signs. So I think he's like a centaur in that way.
Whoa, Moody.
Yeah. Moody can read the signs. I thought his eye was like, maybe that's how he can like see the stars.
I kind of like that. I've never thought about that before.
I don't
know if that's necessarily the truth, but I like that headcanon. I've always thought it was just he's reading the signs, like he's reading the things that are happening, and those are all signs that are leading to something. Not necessarily the stars itself, but maybe he's reading the stars.
Oh.
He's doing that better than centaurs can, or maybe he's doing it as good as centaurs can.
I thought he was reading the stars.
I like it.
Because that's like a whole other talent that people can have, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like if he was the best orer ever,
yeah,
he is really good at reading people and finding information. So I'm like, how much harder would it be to read the stars?
He kind of sees all the stars there, and he can kind of get a gauge on a person based on what the stars say. I like that. I'm gonna consider that, and I'll come up with a better theory on it next week.
Sweet.
I'll report back.
Okay.
Last chapter is chapter 15, which is Beauxbaton and Durmstrang. Can you give me a quick summary on these?
Beauxbaton
on this chapter.
And Durmstrang. They are other wizarding schools that come for the Triwizard Tournament, and we get to meet all of their possibilities, and then they all put their little names in the pot, and then the goblet, the goblet decides.
Yeah. We don't get to the goblet decision yet, but we get to the point where the schools are introduced, really. And they like do their grand entrance into Hogwarts.
This is like, it goes really slow, honestly. Because I got to this chapter and I was like, what book am I in? And then I looked at the front page because I can't read with the things on. Those drive me nuts.
Yeah.
But I was like, Goblet of Fire. And then that was the next chapter. And I was like, I'm like halfway through this book. I didn't even realize like which one I was in. But she's slow moving.
I know. This one moves slow, but then things will pick up, I promise. And you'll reread this and you'll be like, wow, things were actually really fast in this book. They go from one thing to another pretty quick.
That's why I'm trying to enjoy it.
Yeah, I know. But
yeah, it ends with Victor Krum.
Yeah.
Not
walking in.
Yeah.
Is that Victor Krum? Which school would you rather go to? Durmstrang or Beauxbaton?
I don't feel like I know enough about them. I think Beauxbaton sounds a little snobby to me.
Yeah.
They seem a little superficial.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't really, it's funny, no one really knows where Durmstrang is. There's a few theories about where Durmstrang is, but where do you view Durmstrang to be?
Well, they came in a ship.
Yeah.
Right? From under the lake.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Atlantis.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Like, I love that.
Where else could you be under the sea?
Well, that's their transportation. So
but why?
It would be like a port key. Imagine they're on their own lake and they all go into this boat and then they go down and they pop up it's like kind of like a port key a little bit.
Okay, whatever.
But I don't know if maybe they actually are under the water and it's Atlantis.
Who would have a ship as their transport if not on the
A
water?
crazy cool theory.
They're either in an island somewhere surrounded by water, or under the sea itself?
Let's see.
Under the sea. Because Bobaton has horses and carriages, which
Yeah.
they fly, which is whatever. But that's normal. And then even Hogwarts, like their transportation is a train and they have horseless carriages.
Yeah.
Kind of normal. But I just feel like the ship is so out of left field that it has to be in water. But then these are the Quidditch people. So now they're like air people. So we got water and air.
We see the fire.
Yeah. The goblet.
There you go.
I don't know. Maybe they live in a volcano island.
I kind of love this Atlantis theory. I'm actually curious to see. I might post something on Reddit asking if anybody's thought about that before.
That just came to me.
Really?
Yeah, I totally made that up right now. I was like, where could they be under the sea? I'm thinking Atlantis.
Atlantis. That's the only place I know that's under the sea.
Yeah.
That's great.
I mean, it would be under the sea at this point in history, too.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
like that far back.
That's fantastic. That's great.
Pompeii.
Ooh.
That's not necessarily under the
Yeah.
water, though.
It's under ash.
Yeah. Atlantis.
I kind of like that.
The
I'm gonna
merfolk.
theorize about that.
Like they live in the ruins of Atlantis. Because when you look at Hogwarts, it looks like a crumbling castle and nobody wants to go there, and then they remember they have somewhere else to be.
Yeah.
Atlantis is like undiscoverable.
Yeah.
You literally can't find it. And then if it's there, it has to be like some kind of ruins thing.
Yeah.
So
I never thought of Atlantis being like that far north, though. I always thought Atlantis is a bit more tropical
how do you know they're from the north?
because it says that.
That Durmstrang is from the north?
Mhm. They wear thick coats, and no one, well, it might be a
Oh.
front. No one really knows where they are. Crumb leads on a few little notes that we'll talk about later
He has
on.
a head cold too.
Yeah.
But you know, the farther you go north, you'll eventually end up in the south. So
they're
just
so
saying.
far up north that they're
you
actually
just go
south.
around the world. Wait, I need to Google where's Atlantis. I don't even know where Atlantis is. Like
There's lots of different theories about that.
the Bermuda Triangle.
Some people think the Bermuda Triangle. Some people think somewhere in Africa. Some people think off the coast of Africa.
I gotta say, it does kind of make sense though with like the whole no one can find it.
Yeah. A lot of people think Durmstrang is just somewhere in Scandinavia or like very, very upper Germany or something like that. In like the Black Forest of Germany or something.
Maybe they're a Viking shipwreck
That's what a lot of people
in
think. Yeah.
the cold.
Yeah. They're like more Viking-esque than anything else.
That picture makes him look like that.
Yeah.
That big fur.
Yeah.
What is your theory?
I'd probably stick with that. I think somewhere, I don't know if it's necessarily Scandinavia. I would say like somewhere far north. I used to think Russia, but I don't think so anymore. Because Russia has a different school. Koldostorets or something like that.
I do not like the accents and reading.
Yeah, it's a little annoying sometimes.
You could add it like half the time and I would get the point.
Yeah.
But it's bothersome to me. Thought I'd toss that in there.
Yeah, the accents. Sometimes I'm like annoyed by Hagrid's accent reading everything in there. I'm like, give me just like the first sentence and then make everything else normal. That'd be good.
Yeah, like, and he doesn't, no one talks in an accent in my mind except when you add like the "we were going somewhere."
Yeah.
But like Hagrid, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's just no H's.
This is just school introductions, so not a ton else other than just school stuff. But any other points in this chapter?
I don't think so.
What is a cockatrice?
A bird? I don't know.
Do you actually know what it is?
Do I not actually know?
No, do you actually know what it is? Sorry.
No.
Because one won on a rampage in the tournament of 1792.
It sounds like a bird. Like a cockatoo.
I think it's like a
a cockatoo?
like
a cockatrice.
there you go. Cockatoo, cockatrice, cockaquatro.
I don't know.
I think it's like a dragon-ish size, like a dragon hen rooster thing, but that's the size of like a bear. It's like pretty sizable. I think it's pretty intimidating.
I can't even imagine.
I know, and the students have to fight this thing.
There's you know when Hagrid is not showing up, is that actually because of the Scroots? Like his hands all bandaged up, but I was like, maybe he's up to something.
What do you think he's up to?
I don't know.
You can't just ask me these questions because you know I'm not going to answer you on any of these. You just have to come up with theories on your own. And don't be afraid of your theories because you might nail it on some of your theories.
I don't know. His hands wrapped up though.
Yeah.
Is there something here?
Doing? There's no real indication for what he could be doing, to be completely honest. There's one small little thing that you're like, maybe it could help you, but it's so... there's no way you could really know what Hagrid's up to. Like, so he might just be telling the truth, but he might be doing something else. But there's no way to guess what he would be doing.
I've been looking for more Hagrid and McGonagall.
Yeah, I know.
I can't find any.
I'm like trying to search through some of the books right now and trying to find some of that too. I'm like, is there any like hidden romance between these two?
I don't know. I will definitely continue to think that, like, as I go through. But yeah, I feel like the only thing was when she was laughing at his joke.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
And Mad Eye also whispers something to Dumbledore. And I don't know what's going on with him. Like, I keep flip-flopping with Mad Eye.
Yeah.
But...
So you're flip-flopping with Mad Eye. You don't think he's, like, a trustworthy person?
I think he's trustworthy. I don't know if he's good.
Interesting.
Like, I don't know what he's up to. He just is doing something weird. So he's just back and forth in my mind because I don't have a good enough picture of him to be able to like wholeheartedly just be like, oh yeah, it's Mad Eye.
Yeah.
Like McGonagall, I've never questioned. I love her.
Because she's in a relationship with Hagrid, of course.
McGonagall's just the coolest.
She is a gem. What is your favorite? Who's your favorite character, and what's your favorite moment in these 5 chapters?
My favorite character is Mad Eye.
Even though you don't know if he's good or bad.
Yep, I think he's really funny. My favorite moment. There's so much. I gotta say, the moment for Neville himself when he realizes that like he's good at Sprout's class and that he got the compliment. That was not including Mad Eye, not including anybody else. Just like I love that for him that he could have that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's like 10,000 other answers that I could give to that, but that is what we get.
I like that. Gaining a little confidence. I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
I think my favorite in these is I'm gonna go Dennis Creevy. Give an ode to Dennis Creevy for the reasons I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. The kid just loves life.
Yeah.
He's like got like 3 sentences in all 5 of these chapters, but I love him.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Nice. Well, thanks for joining us on our journey of Harry Potter and the Second Time Reader.
Peace.
See ya.